Everybody here will probably hear you, but they might not hear you on the stream.
Drop my voice and speak.
So just grab the whole thing.
Tell me what you want to do.
Just grab it, and when you start, just pull it up.
Feelings.
Sing something else, not feelings.
Well, that's the only word I know, so I don't know what comes after that.
You're not starting, are you?
I
gotta change the number.
You got to do what, please?
Change the number.
Oh,
Sit tight. It'll take me 3 seconds.
you know technology.
And you keep coming back. Thank you.
That's it. Yes, yes, yes.
They better pick the right one this time.
Yeah, I hope so. What's that?
You're all set. Thank you, John.
No, no worries. I'm not going to touch it.
Good with the unemployment.
You got a whistle or something? You know, we got 6:01, so you know, I just want to start on time, end on time.
Did we get money else out of
I don't know.
I'm gonna move closer so you don't feel so.
Well, I'm 35 seconds and then I'm sitting down. Okay. You know, eggs are too expensive.
They are.
All right, good evening, everybody. How are you? Oh, it's good to see everybody here. It's 6:01, and I've been taught start on time, end on time. I don't know who's playing tonight in the March Madness. It doesn't matter,
Everybody.
but we're going to try and get you out on time. My name is Jonathan Lyle. I'm I'm on the Board of Supervisors from District 5. Charlie Waters is here. He's District 4. He's senior, but he said I drew the short straw, so I'm going to introduce Manny Alvarez here in a second. But I want to recognize other people that are here. Our chairman, Tom Winfrey. He was going to wave because he's that kind of guy. Let's see, our other board members here, I don't see them, so I won't introduce them. I will introduce school board members, Angela Allen, District 4, Michelle. I was getting there. Angela is not District 4. And then our chairman is here. Please stand up. You weren't recognized at your own, so Meredith. So, who else do we have here? Planning Commissioner Dwayne Cosby from District 5. Is Mr. Patuck here yet? Okay, he had a conflict. The sheriff's here. We're safe. Fire chief's here. We're even more safe. And then we have a whole slew of staff, and I'm going to let Mr. Alvarez introduce those folks. So this is your meeting. There'll be time for questions afterwards, but you're going to hear about our budget. David Owen, our delegate. Where is our delegate? There he is. David brought lots of cards, and he will tell you it's the reconsider session. I call it the veto session, but there's a lot of things going on, so David would be happy to interact and answer questions on the General Assembly. Sorry?
I don't think the microphone's working.
I'm sorry? Well, that's because
Phone only for streaming? Yes, so
only for streaming.
speak louder.
I'm done. Manny Alvarez is our interim county administrator. He's going to take things over from here, and we appreciate everybody being here. Every question's fair game.
Thank you, Jonathan. How are you all doing? Good, I hope. I thought I was going to be late, so I was sweating and got thirsty, but I think I'm good now. Let me see if I can attach the microphone. Oh, maybe this. Are you hearing okay back there? My phone is ringing, but not important. All right, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for coming. This is my, as all of you know, this is my second attempt at county administration. The last one I started in August, so the budget was done. I just needed to roll. This time, unfortunately, I started in the middle of budget season. And so the goal today is really to tell you where we're spending the money. So pay attention to those slides. If you're not happy with any of it, just be sure to talk to your supervisor or to me after the meeting, or ask questions. Please hold your questions till the end of the school's presentation, because sometimes we kind of lose focus and we want to hear what they're saying as well. So I am not going to introduce all county staff, because I always forget somebody. So I'm going to introduce a couple that are probably going to have to come up here and help me. We have Carla Cave in the back, and see why I don't do it? Miss Worley back here. She is going to come up and tell you a little bit about economic development that's going on here, mostly here in this area. So let's get started. As you know, this is actually our second town hall meeting. Our third town hall meeting would be on Monday. If you miss anything tonight and you want to go to another one, you can come to to the county administration building on Monday and listen to the District 2 and 3. The material is pretty much the same, but you'll hear different questions depending on where you are, because everybody has different needs depending on where they live in the county. We don't need to see that. So first, we're going to look back a little bit at where we've been over the last few years. So you see the growth in our budget since 2018, and that's pretty dramatic. Most of that growth has been in public safety, and this includes both schools and county administration. We have been very conservative in the way we approach the budget, and in many ways it's grown because of, as you see the county growing, we've had to grow in order to support citizens. But you see the thick blue line there it's Cushland. We have not raised taxes, I think, since 2008. And that's when they dropped to the level that they're in now. We're still not proposing on raising taxes this year. Obviously, our assessments have gone up pretty steadily over the years. So the impact to you is, yes, we've raised taxes, but we've also spent that money on good things for the county. So this is where we are on the budget. So Jonathan already introduced the board. The way we do this process is the board receives the results of the assessments from the assessor's office. They set the budget priorities, gather feedback from residents, and this is one of those opportunities. They approve the tax rate, the ad valorem tax rate, and any other budget-related items. The priorities for the board stay consistent with the board strategic plan. Again, I mentioned we take a conservative approach to revenue projections and expenditure growth. And I'll show you how that looks a little later. We seek efficiencies always, and we're expanding public service levels. You'll also see that in the presentation. We always try to achieve and meet and exceed all our financial policies. And we have to maintain employee compensation with neighboring jurisdictions. An issue for us is we have Rich Henrico to our east. Henrico, Chesterfield are the ones that typically take our employees. So while we're almost the same size as Powhatan and Louisa and Cumberland, we lose our employees, especially deputies and firefighters, to Henrico and Chesterfield. So we have to maintain our pay. You'll see some numbers here for utilities. Utilities are self-sustaining. They do that with fees for water, sewer, and so on in the areas that have those services. Again, the budget process, we listen to citizens. The process doesn't start now. It really starts around October when we start looking at budgets. We're starting to see if we have any surpluses. And we meet with all county departments, constitutional officers, schools. Just last week, we met with the schools to go over the capital projects. And then we meet with the board members and establish priorities. We look at all revenue sources. So we try to forecast revenues going forward, general property taxes, other local taxes, state aid, federal aid, charges for services and fees, and grants. We as a county do not receive a great deal of state or federal aid. And that's a good thing sometimes when the state doesn't pass a budget, we can survive without their money for a little while. Other things we have to look at is the impact of inflation. We always have to be prepared for a potential recession. The community has told us over time that they want us to maintain public safety. The General Assembly passes legislation, and you can ask Delegate, there he is, Owen, if you hear anything today that you need his support on. But sometimes they surprise us with something that we have to deal with. Oftentimes is, they'll say we're providing 5% increase for teachers, but we only get 20% of that 5%. So then we have to scramble to make it work within our budget. We have a growing community and growing aging population. So that's something we have to deal with. So that doesn't impact us in many ways, except that we do obviously need more ambulance service for folks as we get older. I've never been to the hospital until I was over 55. So, public education, we depend a lot on what the Commonwealth provides. This year is different than most years. Usually we have a major increase in health insurance costs. Our employees have been pretty healthy, I guess. So this year is flat, no increase in insurance costs. And as I mentioned, we need to maintain employee salaries and benefits to compete with our neighbors. So this is where our money comes in. So general property taxes is the biggest bucket. And this year is a 12% increase overall from last year. You'll see 11% in assessments, but there's also new construction. We have other local taxes, and we have fees and forfeitures. So there's other funding sources, but the biggest part is our general property taxes. And this is how that looks. So last year, the assessed value of real estate values was 8.6%. This year is 9.6, so it's almost $1 million, 11%. How do we do our expenses? So when you look at this and you compare 25 to 26, this is where we try to be conservative. We estimate expenses will be higher than the previous year, and that helps us at the end to kind of stay within budget. This is our proposed budget for 26. Is general fund will be 65 million, special revenue funds 4.5 million, utilities 26 million. Again, that all comes from fees within the utility system. School funds increased by 5.2% over last year, and the CIP, which is where we put all our capital money, is a little bit lower than last year due to the things that we started going last year. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So here's how that breaks down. Fire and rescue gets the biggest chunk of the money. This you'll see in a future slide is for new equipment that they need and they need to upgrade. We have the schools for capital improvement. There's 1.7 million. A big chunk of that is a new chiller for the high school, middle school complex that is now 21 years old. And we have some upgrades to IT systems, so that's also $1.3 million. The 5-year plan, and I totaled it up this morning, and I don't remember how much it was, but it's quite a few million, and this is why we have to be conservative, because we have to plan for the future. The way we spend our money is any surpluses we usually put towards capital improvements in the future. So here's some of the capital improvements. Emergency technology. This is for 911 recording system upgrades. Schools, as I mentioned, the school chiller, that's 1.7 million. Fire and rescue, some new cardiac and respiratory equipment. Modular restroom and shower for the training center. In facilities, we have a generator for fire rescue administration. Information technology, I won't go through all the projects, but we have quite a few. And we're implementing a new system for the treasurer and commissioner of revenue. I retired in 2011 from Altria, and long before I retired from Altria, we retired the old AS400 systems. The current treasurer system is still on an IBM AS400 computer. So we're finally getting them off of that. We actually, at Altria, before I retired, we were actually buying old AS400s for parts. So, and we still have it here in the county. So the key accomplishments in this budget is a 3% cost of living salary for employees. And yes, we're competing. Henrico, I think, is offering 6%. We just can't keep up all the time. We have 11 new full-time positions funded for public safety. That includes 6 new fire fighters, EMS, and 5 new deputies. We also have a couple of other positions, an assistant county attorney, and a new person for a plan reviewer for community development to review plans from some of the commercial growth that's going on in the county. Education remains a priority, and it's a 6% increase to the schools. And there's no increase in the real estate tax rate, Tuckahoe Creek tax rate, or the personal property tax rate. Again, the schedule, March 11, we had a joint session with the school board to kind of understand their needs or their additional needs. We already had seen their proposed budget. On Monday, we had the town hall meeting in District 1. Today, you're here for Districts 4 and 5. On Monday, we have Districts 2 and 3. On April 1st, that's kind of the last key meeting for us, is where you can provide input, is the public hearing on the tax rate, the Tuckahoe Creek Service District, and the 26 budget related items. So it'll be broken up into 3 separate hearings by law. And you can come and speak and provide your input. Then on April 15th, we adopt the budget. Some things might change based on the input we receive on the 1st, but typically there's not a whole lot after that. So next I have some community updates, and this impacts a lot of folks in this district because most of that is happening here. And I'm going to ask Sarah to come up in a minute, but we have a project, and you know, things in government happen slowly. So the last time I was interim administrator, we kicked off this project to study a new interchange on Route 288 right here up by the Notch, which would be very helpful for people to get up there and maybe alleviate some of the traffic here on Broad Street. That, we hope, will be finished. The study will be finished very soon. It was supposed to end last year, but things happen. We have a dual diamond interchange. You might have heard of this. In order to support Project Rocky on Ashland Road, the dual diamond interchange, they will add one bridge over 64 on Ashland Road, and I don't know if any of you have seen the one in Zion's Crossroads. Yeah. So it's really interesting, but for a little short period, you're actually going in the wrong direction. So they actually divert you. I still haven't figured out how it works if there's no power and the lights don't work, but I think they have backup power. So, but it works really well in Zion's Crossroads. It keeps the traffic moving very well. One of the things that's going to happen because of that is, if you've driven up Ashland Road, you'll know that there's a park and ride lot just north of 64. That's going to move to the south end of 64. In another thing in this area is Hackett Road. If you get off 64, or you come down Ashland Road and you want to get on Hackett Road, you have to make a right turn and then turn left at Sunset Grill. Our plan, and it's in the works, is to connect Ashland Road all the way to Hackett Road, basically between Sunset Grill and the fields behind it. We had a meeting yesterday. We're trying to get this expedited because we think it'll be a really good thing for the area. We also have other countywide transportation projects. If you've ever been on 64 in the evening heading west and you come to the exit at Oilville, the traffic backs up oftentimes all the way back to the rest area. To the rest area. And if you're not paying attention, you're in the right lane, all of a sudden the traffic is stopped. So we are proposing a roundabout at that intersection. The problem is that it backs up because people have to make a left turn. There's a lot of traffic on that road, so it's very difficult for people to get off. So a roundabout, I think, will help. And ever since we put the roundabout in the courthouse area at 522 and Fairgrounds Road, people are not as opposed to it, because that has been a huge help for traffic-wise. If you got stuck behind a couple of school buses at that intersection a few years ago, it would take hours. A lot of people would cut across through the Food Lion parking lot to get out because it was nearly impossible. And the roundabout has really smoothed that out. There's also a plan in place to extend Fairgrounds Road all the way to Route 6. So instead of having to, that's another area where you have to make a left and then make a right on Route 6. This will put you right through. And another thing it'll do is that area around that, inside that circle, the county owns it. And so it'll allow us to do some commercial development in that area. We already have some plans, but we don't know exactly what will be there down the road. One thing that I would recommend, we've received a lot of money over the years. Since 2020, we've received $9.2 million in road funding. We used to get none, or nearly none. So we had, the first year I was on the board, there's a bridge that goes down to Elk Island in the western part of the county. That bridge was washed out by a storm or badly damaged. It was going to cost it cost $120,000 or so to fix it. And our budget, our VDOT budget back then was $80,000. So we had to go, well, VDOT went scrambling for us. But so if you buy gas, buy it in Goochland. And there's a tax that per gallon of gas, and that money stays in Goochland, or most of it stays in Goochland. Utilities projects, this might impact some of you here. The fourth main in this area was replaced. It was completed in fall of 24. The Huguenot Hills Water and Sewer Project, that's still ongoing, but they're installing grinder pumps. You probably can figure out what that's for. But, and we're working on the Public Utilities Master Plan. That's something we do every 5 years, and we expect to complete it this summer. I may ask Paul to come up if you have questions about this. Last year, while the Goochland piece was not maybe in the news, there was a Everybody probably heard about the issue in Richmond with the rainwater getting into the plant, into the water and sewer plant, and a lot of things got combined that shouldn't have been. So they put out an alert. We don't get water directly from Richmond. We get water from Henrico in this area. It's very unlikely that water from the city ever made it to Goochland in that period of time. But there were some concerns about our water when Henrico shut off or warned their citizens about boiling water. We pretty much had to do the same thing. And that took 2.5 days after the city closed down that Henrico said we might be compromised. So we did a lot of work. Paul and Jessica were kind of the key communicators. We notified everybody. We emailed all the HOAs that we have contacts for. We emailed restaurants and food service providers because obviously they could be impacted very well. And then Goochland, we provided messages through our website, Code Red. Who doesn't have Code Red on their phone? Everybody has it? Good. You were probably bombarded last week or the week before when we did the tornado drill. But anyway, so they did a lot of media interviews, bottled water distribution. We distributed over 850 cases of water. Then we tested, obviously, and once we turned the water service on, we had to get the pressure built back up. Fire hydrants were inspected to make sure we had service. Did I miss anything, Paul?
I think you hit the highlights. So I think having this slide just kind of talk about, I know we've heard some concerns from the community, and so kind of wanted to put out there what the county had done and the communication efforts that we tried to take as soon as we had accurate information that we could confirm from Henrico County. And so one of the things we would say is the Goochland County website, goochlandva.us, will be the source of any information wherever there's something involving Goochland County. That should have information. We will be sharing information again through Code Red, through our social media accounts, and other avenues that we have, reaching out and sharing it to the press. But everything we usually do, we point back to the county website. But we would definitely encourage folks to follow us on social media, sign up for Code Red, and sign up for alerts through the county's website, because you'll also be able to get alerts through that. And we try to keep the community informed as best as we can with as accurate information as we can. And throughout that, I think every day we provided a daily update to everybody, and it went out to social media, went on the website, and then also we sent out a Code Red again. And with Code Red, we try to target that just to the folks who are affected. So in that situation, we had it only set up to hit the folks who are utility customers, which we don't want to bombard folks when it's not necessary to, because that's an important tool, but we don't want to overuse that tool. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Paul. Hey, don't go away. Don't go too far. I'm going to talk about Firefly next. How many people here don't have broadband? So Firefly is getting really close. By the end of this year, we'll have most citizens in the county connected, or we'll have it available. They don't have to connect, but it'll be available to them. If you look at this map, the blue areas are already in service. Some of those are Central Virginia Electric Co-op created Firefly, and the first thing they did is they connected all their customers. The blue areas on the left side of the map is their customers. There's a little sliver over here on the right. That is Rappahannock Electric. They also did their customers. The rest of us had to deal with Dominion. That took a little longer. But Dominion finally ran all the drop lines, what they call the middle mile, and then Firefly is using that to connect the rest of the folks. So right now, the green colors are undergoing engineering at the moment, And then the pink or whatever the color is, sorry about that. The pink is where they're doing field data collection. And this right here shows, and there are a lot of these in the district where I live, people that were within either the Comcast, mostly Comcast lines that were not connected because they were too far off the road. And so this project is going to connect those folks within the next year. So now I'll ask Sarah to come up. I think I can cover the slides. These are new businesses that came into the county since the last town hall meeting. Richmond Gastroenterology, I am going to visit them tomorrow morning. I don't think it's this job, but I've had a lot of heartburn issues. so I'm gonna go see if they help me. Bandit's Rich Winery, they've been there for a while, but they're now, they used to be a wedding venue that was approved by the county a few years ago, and now they've added a winery. Dunkin' Donuts, which may be the problem with my heartburn, not the other. They're, I don't know if you've seen it yet, right here on Ashland Road. They just had their opening a couple Saturdays ago. And then Youthful Beginnings. What Youthful Beginnings?
It's Esthetician services in the courthouse area.
There you go. Oh, that's right. I keep thinking it's for youth, but it's to make us look younger. That's the next doctor I'm going to go to. And then Yellow Club is a pickleball tennis facility. And I'm going to let you take it from here.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Alvarez. For those who don't know me, I'm Sarah Worley, the Economic Development Director here at Goochland County. And take that so folks at home can hear me. Going back to that revenue slide that Mr. Alvarez showed a little bit earlier, a lot of our tax revenue comes from commercial development. So commercial development has a higher assessment, so they pay higher taxes based real estate. They also pay machinery and tools and business personal property. And what that does is it keeps you as citizens, your tax rate lower and more stable. So the work that I do to recruit new businesses and make sure that they're happy and staying in Goochland County does affect your taxes and keep them stable. So with that being said, we're excited to kind of introduce the Rockville Opportunity Corridor. Most of you will know this as Ashland Road. And as you know, there's a lot of things happening along Ashland Road corridor. So the county wanted to make sure that you were up to date on all the transportation improvements and things happening along there. So there's a new website. If you go to goochlandva.us/ROC for Rockville Opportunity Corridor, you'll be able to find information about the projects, the timelines, the transportation things that are happening along there. So getting into some of that, there is new industrial buildings, Axial Rockville 64, located on Ashland Road. These are two distribution type, industrial type warehouses. They total 335,000 square feet, and they are under construction now. And then next slide. So everyone, I'm sure, is familiar with Project Rocky at this point, an e-commerce fulfillment center that is under development now. You will see lots of activity happening on the site. They hope to be operational in 2026. And then not to leave out some of our smaller lot industrial. These are really geared towards our maybe local businesses that are working out of their house now and they're looking to expand and they need space for that expansion. And so there's opportunities in Oilville for them. There's 14 lots that's going up at the Oilville exit and then also in Midpoint. HG Meats, I don't know if you all are familiar with this, but this was a very innovative business that gives a nod and is based in Goochland's agricultural history. What it is a meat processing facility off of the Haydensville exit. This allows our farmers to take their meats there, have them processed, and they can pick them back up and then resell those the meat that has been processed. It's not open for retail sales, so it allows the farmers to take that and make money off of their cattle. And yep, next slide. Oh, did you want to add something? No?
No,
Okay.
well, I was just going to say, right now, some farmers have to drive many hours to
Yeah.
get the animal processed.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. So previous to them, we had farmers driving 2 to 4 hours just to get their cows processed. Capital investment over the last several years has been pretty stable. You'll notice in 2021 there was a huge jump. That's due to in 2020 COVID, and then there was a lot of pent-up demand. So in 2021 we saw a huge jump, and a lot of it had to do with Avery Point. Came in with some of their building permits in 2021, but we kind of evened out after that. We hope to see some more coming in 2025. The other hat that I wear is tourism, and so a couple years ago the county launched a tourism website and initiatives. So we have exploregoochland.com. So if you go on there, you'll find activities happening in and around the county. There's calendars. The Goochland Guide to Food, Beverage, and Fun. There's a QR code. If you scan that, it brings up a website, and it's going to show you restaurants, historical attractions, parks, all sorts of fun things to do in Goochland County. In addition, our EDA, in partnership with our EDA, we have what we call as an open rewards program. So if you become a part of this program, you will receive cash back when you shop at certain local Goochland businesses, and it'll give you the cash back to go spend at another local Goochland business. And then lastly, it's important to show our businesses appreciation, especially our small local businesses. So the month of May has been designated several years in a row as Business Appreciation Month, and we have several activities going on along that month to show appreciation to our businesses. And with that, I'll give it back to Mr. Alvarez.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Sarah's doing a great job, and we have a couple more things hopefully to announce in the next couple months that are going to help. And her point was well taken. The more we build the commercial, the less impact on the residents' real estate taxes. So that's our goal. I think right now we're at 81% residential and 19% business, and our goal is to get to at least 70-30, which is sort of where Henrico is. So another thing that is coming up, these are some of the things that are coming up. So Goochland Day is coming up Friday, May 16th. They're doing their concert in the courthouse area. And then the May 17th is the parade. It's become bigger every year, and it's really a nice event for the community. Parks and Recreation right now, I don't know if, I know that at least one of you was at the meeting, well, a couple of you, at the meeting last week or the week before to talk about the master plan for Parks and Recreation. So public meetings were held on March 18th, January 22nd, and they're doing a survey. You might get a survey that is targeted to make it a valid, statistically valid survey. So you may get a survey. If you do, please fill it out. And then we expect to complete it by this fall. And what we're looking for is, do we have the right park facilities? I know a lot of folks out here say, there are no parks on the East End. And it's true. So those are the kind of things that we'd like to hear about. And then some of the events that are upcoming, we're having an egg stream event or an egg hunt. We have concerts at Tucker Park. Anybody not been to Tucker Park? Anybody been to Tucker Park? Okay. So I asked the question the other way, and nobody responds. So Tucker Park is a great location. There's a stage there that was actually donated years ago by Capital One, and so they have a bunch of concerts coming up. On the 25th is the Slate River Band. On May 30th, or 25th of April, May 30th is exit 38. Well, I won't read them all. You can see them. Get a brochure on your way out. Another thing that's coming up is on June 7th, we're doing our annual document shredding event. You can bring boxes of paper. You don't have to remove paper clips and staples, but please remove all plastic or binders. And you can bring household hazardous waste, including fluorescent bulbs and batteries, solvents, degreasers, that kind of thing. So now this is your part. This is how you can get involved. Provide feedback. There's a survey. I don't know where Paul and Jessica went. Back there. So we have a survey in the back. Scan the code and give us your input on today's meeting, and that'll help us going forward. You can submit your interest to serve on boards and be appointed to a board by, typically you're appointed by your supervisor. You can volunteer to help departments that are of interest to you. You can serve a not-for-profit. I'm on 2 of those currently, the Historical Society and Goochland Cares. There's room for serving in any of those boards. Come to town hall meetings, you're here, so I don't have to remind you of that. And participate in county events, and you get to meet a little bit more people, and you can donate your time and expertise to and financial resources to some of our charities. Vote, and if you're willing to put up with you, run for office. It's really a rewarding. I had a 30-year career, but my job as a supervisor and currently are a lot more rewarding than anything I did in my other career. Other things you can do is download the Goochland County app. Go to Goochland at a glance on our website, and we have weekly updates. There's a calendar there. You can actually download some of those things to your own calendar, and you can sign up for alerts through our county website. The sheriff also has a really good app that you can scan this code or look at the handout we have in the back, and it tells you, they warn you about road closures, when they reopen, those kinds of things. We talked already about Code Red. It's really helpful for you and for us because we feel more comfortable when we send something out that somebody's going to see it. We have a project that we're building company's Fire Station 8 in Sandy Hook. This is very close to my house. Last time I had the slide up, it didn't say potential design, but I think the chief saw that I really liked it, so he put potential, so in case he needs to change it. But it's, we needed a fire station there. Right now they're using a home we purchased, and they have an ambulance there, and they've made a lot of calls and probably saved a couple people's lives in my neighborhood. We're expecting to issue the bids by the end of the year, but fall. And I'll tell you a little bit about Company 7, which was supposed to go here on Hackett Road. There was some opposition from citizens to the location because of safety concerns about fire station right around the curve, narrow road. So we're looking at other potential sites. If you have any input on that, please let us know. We're looking at other, maybe better sites for it. So the fire department, and I missed this because I wasn't rehired yet, but they actually had a grand opening for a fire center in the fire training center, which is on Maidens Road, near River Road. And they received a governor's award. It's beautiful. It's a mobile unit, so if we ever needed to move the fire training center, we could take it with us. But they're in this place, they can actually see live fire. So you can train all you want, but until you train with live fire, it just makes it very different. And it used to be we could burn some place down, but we but we know there are a lot of toxics in homes now, so it's not the best thing to do. So this uses theatrical smoke and gas fire. Our animal shelter continues to do great work. They had 2,300, almost 2,400 calls for service last year. There were 574 adoptions over the year, and the save rate is 96.6%, which is excellent. And it's the only animals that don't leave alive is because they're very sick or very dangerous. And to tell you how well the adoptions go, last week I had a different dog on here. So I had to update my slide. Mr. Vincent Van Gatto was in that slide, but I forgot the name of the dog, but she was a real cutie. I almost adopted her at the shelter. So it's dangerous for me to go to the shelter. And then again, more on engagement. The Board of Supervisors meetings are on the first Tuesday of the month, and the times are publicized about 7 days in advance. They usually, the afternoon meetings either at 2 or 3 o'clock. The evening meetings is either 6 or 7, depending on how much stuff we have on the agenda. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Meredith, the school board chairwoman, and she's going to take you through the school slides.
Keep it there.
And the microphone, do you want to
Yeah, I gotta put that on.
pin it or?
Yeah, I'm gonna pin it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just let it drop.
Put this over here. So don't use your hands too much. Like me. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna try this.
Hold your questions, write them down if you need to, and we'll answer them at the end of the meeting.
Oh, give me time. I haven't been on a wireless mic in about 7 years, so give me time. Okay, my name is Meredith Moses. I am the chair of the Goochland County Public School Board. Dr. Cromartie is sick, so he's not able to be here tonight. And I'm going to be doing part of this presentation. Miss Allen is going to be doing the number part, because she's the number person. I would almost say I'm the social person, but no. Those of you that know me, Okay. But before I start on that, it is nice to be after Mr. Alvarez's presentation, because he mentioned several things that I want to reiterate. Code Red, great. I just got that a few months ago, and they don't send too many of the warnings, but they do let you know what's going on. I love the Goochland County Sheriff Office app. If you want to know which way not to go, get that app, okay? Because if the road's closed, the road's closed. You don't want to go that way. And I'm also very happy with the fire rescue people. I have never liked traffic circles, okay? I don't like them. Well, I didn't like them. I got used to them now that I live in Goochland. But one good thing with the traffic circle in Goochland proper is that they realized ambulances can't get to the Sandy Hook area. They put Station 8 in, okay? And that, honestly, a lifesaver. So that was a very, very good thing that happened there. Okay, I'm gonna try without that. And I have never used a clicker. All right. Now this is Dr. Cromartie's presentation, so I got it, I found out I was gonna be doing this about 3 o'clock and had a meeting until 4:30. So, bear with me, okay? Okay. All right, Goochland County Public Schools have this wonderful ethic, and we have our core values, and part of those are the ECHOs. ECCHO. Okay, obviously you can read it here. Excellence, creativity, courage, honor, and optimism. These are our core values. These are what we want to adhere to. Okay. aspire to, right? We do have core goals. We love our students. We want them to be the best they possibly can. So we want to maximize each one of their academic potential. We do that using good teachers, excellent teachers, and facilities. The resources for instruction, that's the facilities part. We want to maximize those. We want to get the best we can. And we want to improve the climate of our organization. We want everyone to be happy. Okay. Okay, so our vision is to inspire the next generation to make a positive impact. We don't want them just graduating. We want them to get out there and do good, do great stuff. To do that, you've got to maximize the potential. Okay. Oh, I do love this slide because I'm a chemist by trade. Okay. I have worked in many a lab. I have worked in academic labs, and I'm guessing this must be a bio lab because it's not chemistry. Chemistry would be stuff everywhere. All right. So this must be a bio lab. The other part I don't like about this is the Virginia Tech. UVA grad here. Closer to here. Okay. Okay, never mind, lost those people. All right, our enrollment. Our enrollment hadn't gone up or down too terribly much, but you will see, okay, this is Randolph Elementary, Goochland Elementary. I realized the other day when I was watching this on District 1, you can't read this slide. Byrd Elementary, Goochland Middle School, and Goochland High School. The high school, the enrollment's sort of steady. The middle school, it's going up a little bit, but that's because the number of students are growing. But you do see a big spike here for this year at Goochland Elementary School. That coincides with the, I wish I had a pointer, decrease here and here. When we opened the new Goochland Elementary School, we took a lot of students from Randolph and from Byrd. So that's why the numbers, there's a big spike here and 2 drops here. Okay. So basically, it's still sort of flat. It is going up, but it's not going up quite as much as that one spike would think. Here's our overall enrollment. And again, you see it's, sort of steady. Same number here in 2022, 23 as in 24, 25. It did go down a little bit here. Now here it went up because big cohort, okay? They graduated and then the next one came. So they are, it's sort of steady, but it is going up. Our successes, okay. One thing is Goochland is a 5 Apple distinguished schools. Okay, we have 5 schools, they're all Apple distinguished. This, yes, it's an Apple thing, but it's not just buying apples. It's not just buying the technology. It's inspiring the students. It's making them use their imagination. It's making an impact, okay? So it's not just buy the apple and we're gonna get you a certification. Basically, okay, you have 457 Apple distinguished schools in the US, but there are 115,000 K-12 schools in the US. So it's not just to buy the apples, get the distinguishedness. And Goochland is one of 18 Apple distinguished districts. So it's actually a pretty big deal. Goochland County Public Schools, Niche. Niche is one of those online comment things from parents and students. Niche has Goochland County Public Schools as the number 12 in the state. Okay. A minute. Okay. Yeah. We'll talk more about the rankings in a couple of slides. Again, 3 o'clock. Okay. Special Olympics. Goochland has the unified sports things. That's for the disadvantaged people, the disabled people. And I went to one of their competitions last year, and it was awesome. Schools came in from all over. These kids, they played their hearts out. Okay, they were wonderful. It was actually very inspiring. Ms. Weiss, Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. She does her job. She does great. And okay, accreditation. Goochland is one of 10 school divisions in Virginia with 100% of our schools accredited for more than 10 consecutive years. That's a big deal, especially when you consider some of the school districts around. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Alvarez, next time, and on next Monday, when you talk about us giving a 3% raise, don't mention Henrico. If you don't mind. We're trying to keep them here. Okay. All right. SOL results. All right. This is what I was thinking was coming right after the accreditation. Okay. In reading and English, we have an 82% pass rate, which is a regional rank. That's the area around here. First. State rank 14th out of 131. Not bad, pretty good. Math, 83% pass rate, which is second in the region and 8th in the state. So 82%, 83%, pretty good. What are we aiming for? 100%. Yes, 100%. Okay, so we got to keep working. You can't just slide on 83. That's a B. That's great. Always go for the B. As far as value, per pupil ranking, funding ranking, we're 72nd for both reading, English, and math out of 131. Okay, so we're not anywhere near as expensive as some of the other schools who may be a little bit higher than us, but as far as the rank is concerned, but we are trying to keep our costs down. Okay, and our on-time graduation rate is very good at 98%. Okay, that doesn't mean that 2% of people don't graduate. 2% of the students don't graduate. What it means is that 2% don't graduate within the 4 years. It may take them 5 years. It may take them another summer, something like that. We do get them graduated for, I'm going to guess, without having a number, 99.5%. Okay? And I am now passing it off to the money person.
Yeah, okay.
That's going to slide.
Slide?
It's going to slide down there. If you don't. Yeah, no, stay.
There's too many things.
Okay. Forward, reverse.
Got it. Thank you, Ms.
And
Moses.
You do have your, there is the next one.
Welcome. For those of you I don't have the opportunity to have met before now, I'm Angela Allen. I am the representative for District 3. And prior to this year, I was the chair, and the year before that, the vice chair. And this is my 4th budget cycle with the school board. So that's why I got voluntold to do this presentation. We do hope Dr. Cromartie is feeling well again by Monday. So let's talk about your hard-earned tax dollars, of which we are entrusted to get value out of for the education of the county's students. For 2026, that begins for the county on July 1st. Let's look at what we're planning ahead. And the school division breaks our planning process along our strategic goals, and there's 4 of them. And so I'm going to quickly hit the highlights and then talk about the revenue resources that we're going to allocate toward each of those goals. Goal number 1, as it should be, is to maximize each student's potential in preparation for a successful life. I appreciate Ms. Moses saying, hey, this doesn't just mean we get them graduated and out the door. This means we need them to be productive, contributing citizens, whether that's college, military service, workforce, trade school, whatever that looks like is next for them. We need to give them a running head start. So that's really the top priority and where the lion's share of our resources should be allocated. I'm not going to read all of these numbers to you. The presentation will be posted online, and I don't want you to fall asleep. But I do want to highlight a few things. One is you can see that for our most important goal, we're spending a teeny tiny bit of money, $95,000. You said it was most important. The county is giving us a $45.767 million budget to do it, but we only put $95,000 towards our most important goal. Hold on to that thought. I'm going to tell you what's happening here. There's some magic, a shell game with the money. Right, Stephanie? It's a shell game. All right. First of all, what I do want to call out is that there are changes, reduced expenses based on ACA, that's our Advanced College Academy program. So students can get a 2-year associate's degree from Reynolds Community College. And General Assembly made some changes to how that funding works, so forth, so on. So we're seeing an offset there that creates a little bit of differentiation in the optics of the numbers. We also recognize that we had to make changes to personnel. And so there may be a trend in government to just pile on. This board has really challenged our superintendent and our administration to do more with the same. So we needed an assistant principal at that growing Goochland Elementary School. We said, we really don't have the budget to hire yet another administrator. Find a creative solution. And a creative solution was found, and so we moved an internal person once the budget is officially adopted into that role. You're also seeing changes, ESL, English as a second language. We have had an uptick in the number of students that have needed those services. You probably know why. And there are SOQs, standards of quality, mandated by the state for being able to support particular services. And I'm excited, there he is, doing important work in the back, half of an instructor towards EMT, which is very important, career path and services for our community. All right, let's look at strategic goal number 2, create an engaging and responsive experience. Everyone feels informed, included, valued, and empowered. Sounds really good, doesn't it? What does it look like? Nothing says I value you more than paying you better, particularly in the inflationary pressures of today's economy. So that's how that translates from a revenue point of view. And it is the single largest line item in our budget because it comes at a whopping $995,000 out of your tax money. That's what it costs. We've got a huge, we're the largest employer for the county because of the number of teachers and administrators and support services it takes to run a school division with 2,643 students. So we want to tell our employees you are valued. Here is a 3% cost of living raise to recognize that. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge a year ago we gave all of our teaching staff a 5% market adjustment cap to try to keep up with those surrounding localities you've been hearing so much about. It is not sustainable or realistic to do that every single year. So it's like that whole thing, like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. We'll be playing that dance with our neighbors. But if you live in Henrico or right there at the county line and you're like, I'm not going to work for Goochland anymore because Henrico's given 6. We have smaller class sizes, better results, and a better culture. So come on over for 3%. All right, here we go. I talked about it. There's the real dollars, the $995. We also saved some money, restructuring positions, retirements, things of that nature. So we put our dollars towards, we're in the people business. So we put the money towards the people. Number 3, enhance and support the instructional and learning needs of all students and staff. Look, guys, I would love to stand on a soapbox and tell you how amazing we are to be the #1 school division in the greater Richmond area. I can't do that. 82% in reading and 83% in math. That's not good enough. It's just not good enough because there's 18% and 17% of kids that are not meeting a proficient benchmark. What do I say to those moms and dads? So in my mind, this should probably come to the front of the list, but we'll work on that next year. So here we go. These are all your support services, the reality of what it takes to run a school division, and you're seeing everything from fuel to utilities and food. It's just, you know, it's a small city, right? We're bringing all these people together every day. We got to move them around. We got to keep them safe and fed. So that comes at a healthy cost of $746. Remember when I talked about we're playing a shell game with the money? Not really. This one is a little bit inflated, so I don't want you to think, wait, you said you spent $95,000 on the most important thing and you're spending $746,000 on number 3? The $270,000 is really a carryover from the previous year. So this number really looks something like $400 and, keep me straight, $86,000. So just, it's all about optics, right? Want you to know we have a very lean, well-run operation in our school division. All right, number, strategic abandonment. I don't believe in just piling on. We must find ways to save money, and here are some things that staff did in the past year to shave about $662,000 off the budget. Let's find more. It's not my money. It's your money. So the more we can do to continue to reduce costs and generate savings, the better, and we will continue to seek those opportunities. In summary, first of all, $45,767,000. I want to begin by thanking our Board of Supervisors, partners, and our county administrator. The reality is that every mandate that comes from the General Assembly in Goochland schools is only funded by 0.2. So Goochland citizens are on the hook for 80% of whatever the state says because of our local composite index. So that means that we need our county support and our citizen support to meet us to be in compliance with those mandates. And it's tough. I don't have to speak for Delegate Owen. It's a very tough thing because somebody says, go and do such, by the way, we're not going to give you the money. Okay, teacher raises. 80% of anything that is coming out of Richmond is paid for by you in Goochland. So I want to thank them for always collaborating with us and helping us figure out creative accounting solutions to challenging problems. And we work really hard to be good stewards of your money. This is, now that we've looked at a lot of data, this is really a great picture because it shows you that more than 77% of that money is focused on instruction and technology to support the learning agenda. So you don't have to worry about it going to a number of kind of bloated overhead. And more than 84% is going back. What did I say we're in? The people business. So more than 84% is going to direct compensation and benefits for our employees. How do we get all of this money? We'll be passing a basket later. So checks are welcome if you need our Venmo. Just kidding. Just kidding. They should teach this in like middle school. People should know where the money comes from to pay for your education because it's really fascinating and it's very complex. I'm going to give you the quick version. A big part of it is based on how many students, average daily membership, how many students we tell the state that we have at the end of the year. And then it's funding is allocated based on that. Sales tax, yay, go buy stuff. We're very shocking, we're very conservative. You know, maybe we're expected to get in some $4 million in taxes. We will say that we're going to get in about 97.5% of that because if spending drops, we won't get as much revenue as we forecasted, and then we'll have a shortfall. Other state aid, and then I anticipate in the Q&A section, there may be, what about the Federal Department of Education? I want everyone to do this with me. Breathe in, breathe out. The school division is not going to collapse because of the Federal Department of Education being shifted around. We can talk about the specifics of that, but there's plenty of resources and that money is going to come from other places. So this just gives you a quick overview, but again, I think the back of the envelope math is about 81% is directly out of Goochland's budget. And look at that. Wow, did I get my math right? Well, so you got to count some of that different, anyhow. But there it is. All right. Additional investments. Want to thank the supervisors again. As Manny said, we met on March 11th to revisit some of our unfunded priorities, and the county has generously offered to close some of that gap, an additional $300,000, which we now as a board will need to meet again and decide, okay, that's how much we got. Specifically, what are we going to use it for to make the biggest impact on student outcomes? And that is not me, that is her, and we will hand it back to Mr. Alvarez.
Stay there. Don't go anywhere. Questions? Mm-hmm. Questions for us? Yes, sir.
We've heard talk about desiring a 70-30 split between commercial and residential, and we heard some hints about maybe some announcements on the commercial side. But does the county have a view toward closing the gap that exists now, and what might that timeline look like?
I don't think we have a timeline, but we're very active. We have Sarah, and she's got an assistant, and we're really going after businesses, and we've been very open to businesses in the right place. And so, as far as I know, we haven't turned down anything yet, business-wise. There might be some that we don't want, but they come and they apply. They don't always apply for the right location, and so we usually try to move them, to the right place. But yeah, we're shooting for that goal. I think we have made some strides, and then we kind of reverted a little bit because a lot of people have moved to Goochland recently, so that always changes our numbers. But we are open for business, and Sarah's proof of that. Yes, ma'am.
There are two things that I would like to have mentioned that are, I think, very strong in Goochland, and they are not available in the so-called better private schools. One is the CTE program, which gives kids an enormous, you ladies probably need to talk to that. And
Oh, it wasn't
the
our
other is
presentation.
the other is the military option that may have given.
And they're both out of the same kind of group, but
So it wasn't my presentation, but yes. So thank you for mentioning those. And this is where I can give another plug for our supervisors, because they are 110% on board with continuing to invest in and support our CTE program. Goochland County Public Schools is one of only a handful in the entire state that offers the full complement of 18 different specialties of career and technical education programs. And we're so proud of that. Not only do we have the offering of programs, but we have in-depth, excellent programs, and our students are literally have job offers, $80,000 as a welder before they even graduate from high school, and there's many examples like that. In addition to the welding, the heavy equipment operators, the EMT, and so forth and so on, we also have the Marine Corps JROTC program, which honestly, it's so humbling to see these young men and women want to take that as a step. And we have now had 4 students earn the highest level of academic scholarships, full rides for 4 years of university, including their expenses, and a commissioning in this branch of service of their choice. So I just want to give all of the credit to our amazing teachers for the great work that they do for those programs, and for that man right there, Mr. Bruce Watson, who leads our CTE program.
And speaking of CTE, I'd like to give a shout out also for Mr. Lumpkins, who was on the school board back then. And when I ran for office, one of the things everybody was asking for, bring back CTE, bring back CTE. And the school board worked on it, got it going, and it's been a great program. Mr. Watson's been terrific, and I know oh yeah, by the way, speaking of that, the cookies in the back were all made by the culinary school. And I know you came to our Lafayette event in November, and all the food there was made by the culinary school, and it was amazing. And of course, I have Mr. Lyle in the back, as supervisor, who's pushing for one more program for CTE. At the 8th grade level, he would like to have ag included. So anyway, the schools are great. When I was on the board, my first couple of years, I was more proud of the work the schools did than, ours took a little longer to accomplish, but they were doing a great job from the start.
About the water crisis, I know that was totally unprecedented, and I think Goochland did the best job it could, because I think there was a lot of conflicting information floating about. Going forward, does the county have any plans to collaborate with other counties like Henrico and Hanover, who are also affected, to basically keep an eye on Richmond, where we get our water from, and make sure this doesn't happen again?
Well, the best thing would be to cut off from Richmond, and that's Henrico is planning that. They actually have talked about maybe buying the Richmond water operation. I don't know if you know, but Richmond has been under EPA rule for years, because they, once in a while when it rains, even when they don't flood, they release sewage into the river. So don't eat any fish that's south of Richmond on the river. Don't go fishing there. But yeah, so thank you. And I think we've made some changes to our approach to make sure that we connect with folks early and often. As soon as we find out, we didn't find out until after Henrico had a press conference. But
What I'm talking about is, all the dysfunction, if you will, in Richmond, and apparently they weren't informing the other people who were getting water from there. And I think Hanover
Right.
and Henrico's have seemed to express some interest in keeping a closer eye on Richmond.
Hey, man,
yes,
remember, Henrico just opened up Cobb's Creek, the extra reservoir they have up there. And the only connection to our system, our system's connected to Henrico. So the east end of Henrico connects to the city of Richmond still.
Okay.
So by having Cobb's Creek, they're looking at cutting that connection off as soon as possible. So that should solve the problem. I don't want to see any more porta johns at the Capitol, which is what we had. We had zero water down there, no fire protection, no quarries, no nothing. So it was very interesting. So there was also people put forward bills at that moment to require the city of Richmond either to allow Henrico to buy or allow Henrico to run their water system. So there are a lot of things in the works.
and I don't know if you know, if anybody here knows, but our sewer from here goes all the way down to the city. So we pay them back.
They can turn it off.
Mr. Sloan, yeah, I better not say anything. It might blow up on River Road somewhere. Then,
Manuel, a number of us attended the informational meeting last Monday about the Melrose Energy Center.
yes.
It's apparent that
I didn't want to say the name earlier, but
they've never constructed a 200 megawatt plant before. They've been a much smaller, and they don't really have probabilistic risk assessments for it. Can you tell how citizens can get involved and know the status of where it is right now? And
more than now. I have never received as many emails or calls from citizens as Melrose, and it hasn't officially been kicked off. They had a community meeting, kind of a road community meeting. They did it on their own. They didn't include the county. Jonathan, you want to?
Tell them what it is.
Yeah, so Melrose is a storage facility, power storage. Yeah, come on up. Folks, here's Sarah Worley again. She didn't ask for this one, by the way.
I did not. just to clarify, I did not recruit this business. They came to Goochland, but we are working with them. So battery storage basically is they buy electricity off the grid at low rates, they store it, and they sell it back to the grid at higher rates. That's how they make their money. This is a private business. It's not a utility company. They need to be located on a transmission line, which is why they chose the location that they chose. We're currently working with them to see if another location could be better suited for them. They have not filed their application yet. They are still talking with staff. They are pushing to file their application. When they do, there will be a community meeting to be held by them. They will go before the Planning Commission, have a public hearing there. They'll go to the Board of Supervisors and have a public hearing there. So you have 3 opportunities, official opportunities, to come and provide your feedback on this application.
Thank you. And we've had a lot of feedback already, as you can imagine, but it may not be enough, you know? I mean, I think it's important to, one thing we could do, because this business, and I'm kind of going to say that to my folks that can build web pages, maybe once they apply, we could have a page on our website to tell people where it is and provide feedback and so on. And I'm getting nods from the back. If I'm not here anymore, then you remind them. Yes, ma'am.
Going back to his comment about the 70-30, if you've noticed on the east side of our county, massive developers are moving in to try and kill off the rural area in Goochland by putting in RPUDs. So that's just going to keep increasing the distance between your now 80-20 and 70-30 to like 90-something. Could we please address the amount of people coming in?
Yeah, we can address it. We do zoning, and we have some of our zoning folks here, but there's only so much you can do, and so there are all of those things are public. They're right now, most of them are going in areas where we can accept growth. It may not be where we want to see it, but those are areas that are dedicated for growth. If they come to other areas, we have been able to stop them or at least reduce the amount of homes they want to put in. But one problem, and we had worked on a small area plan for the courthouse area and for this area, for the East End, for Centerville, and that plan that was not approved is kind of put on hold. Without a plan, we're not going to be able to stop anybody from coming. And I'm a believer in property rights. If I own 100 acres and I want to sell it to a developer and make the most I can from it, of course I'm going to do that. I think most of us would. So our planners and the board has to kind of say what should go and should not go. But we can't stop them from applying. And sometimes last weekend I heard from Mr. Lyle about an application they had just applied on Friday. But you have access, you can actually look on our website. There's a thing called EnerGov. You can go in there and see the latest application. There are a lot of folks in this end of the county. I forgot what the name of the group is, CAC? Centerville, I don't remember exactly the name, but they're constantly looking and they're trying to provide good feedback so that the developments become better. And there have been a lot of developments that started out of control that were brought back because of your feedback. So, yes, ma'am.
How can we get a plan approved so that we stick to the plan I guess a rough plan or whatever it is that limited the number of houses to 3 acres or something?
Well,
it seems like all of these developers want to do real high density.
Yeah, well, this area has water and sewer, so this is the area where you can put high density development. The western part of the county, and we're having some meetings about that, require a bigger size lot because you have to have a septic and a well. Out here, that's not the case. So the limitations are the roads, density obviously creates issues on roads. And we don't own our roads, so we have to depend on VDOT. And there's only so much we can get a developer to do on the roads. So it's a work in progress, and every application comes in, I guarantee you, every application gets studied, and the board has to look at it. They visit the location, and they do their best to kind of shape it to something that's acceptable. It's interesting because I remember when I was on the board, and the Tuckahoe Creek North, which is off north is off Rockville, and south is off Mannequin Road. When that came in, originally they were asking for a lot of homes. They were cut down to 49 on each side. And yeah, it fit the model, but anyway, the one of the citizens living in Tuckahoe Creek North, where everybody in the area was opposed to Tuckahoe Creek North, is now opposed to Highfield, which is north of there. So once you get in, you don't want anybody else. But that's just part of reality. Yes, sir.
With all the development that's going on in this part of the county, what's the update on Fire Rescue Station 7? What's the timeline?
So
what are you thinking about?
Fire Station 7 was supposed to already be kind of underway, and it was delayed. We are now looking for another location. Chief, do you have any idea what we might be looking at? We have one location that we're looking at, which is the old HCA facility in West Creek. We're looking at that, but it's a lot of money. So we're looking to see, because once we buy it, then we have to add bays and convert it to a fire station. But it's a very positive location. The fire chief usually wants to be able to cover on both sides of the fire station, but the east side of that location is Henrico. But it gives us great access to 288 north and south, and to go west on Tuckahoe Creek Parkway. And
Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. And first comment is we absolutely do need Fire Station 7 to be built. No questions asked about it. It's needed for the growth and development that's occurring here in the east end of the county. Having said that, Mr. Alvarez is right. We need to be able to cover both the Broad Street and Patterson corridors with Fire Station 7. Over to the north of Interstate 64, we have the Project Rocky development, as well as the Rockville Opportunity Corridor that has been announced with other projects. And then we have, over to the south, we have the Southeastern Infrastructure study that has just been released, pretty much is where West Creek is. And all of that is justification for Fire Station 7, and always has been, even before the Southeastern study was given a name. That was the justification for Fire Station 7, because we knew 25 years ago that would probably develop. So we absolutely do need that. We think that having it somewhere around the Tuckahoe Creek Parkway area could benefit both sides of the county for the economic growth. Company 3 in Centerville, Company 1 in Mannequin can only handle but so many calls at one time. And that's our challenge now, is that one or the other or both are tied up on a call, and a third call comes in, and then we pull down Crozier. And then if that call goes, then you have the courthouse. An example, Mr. Alvarez, a couple of weeks ago, Chief Watkins, we had like 6 on, I think it was a Monday morning or it was a weekday morning. Within a 2-hour time frame, we had 3 calls pop in this end of the county that basically used all the resources we had on duty. So units were shifting from the west to the east, and that Sandy Hook Fire Station 8 has really been a great resource, because they actually were the last unit. Company 1, Company 2, Company 3, and Company 5 were already on ambulance calls in the east end of the county. And so, our staffing model is we're fire and rescue. So we not only worry about the ambulance call, but we worry about what if a fire call comes in next, which are usually more labor intensive in some cases. So we do need the fire station. We are looking at property along the Tuckahoe Creek Parkway area. There is some other development that Sarah has been successful in attracting, and we don't know what that is, but We certainly know that that could have an impact on, our services, and we're anxious to learn, more about that. But I think you mentioned, I don't want to let the cat out the bag, you did say the HCA property, right? Was something
Well,
we were
yeah,
looking
probably.
at, so.
We're looking at whether we could purchase that, but it's going to take more money than we have. Yes,
I would also add.
you want to come up?
I'll speak. Fire Station 8 was pulled forward.
Yes.
Right.
In order to be more effective in the shorter term. And so it's not simply rather than but rather than have a delay in our effectiveness as an organization, we've made that conscious effort to move that process forward so we can get things going sooner than later. So yes, we do want to find the right location for Station 7, but it was, as that was hitting snags, it made more sense to get started with a project that is seeing benefits already.
Very well said, and time is not on our side. We didn't waste time. We moved that project right to Sandy Hook so that we could have more resources on duty countywide, which.
And it has nothing to do with my living less than a mile from it. I
We
swear.
didn't get any complaints.
No complaints.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Todd. Yep.
Going on what Ben was touching base on a few minutes ago, I mean, you're the expert. What are your thoughts on putting out a storage container sized lithium battery when it catches on fire?
Well, I'm in the hot seat, right? That's the answer. Honestly, Fire Rescue has looked at the project. We only know what we know. What we know and what we've been told is the developer, wants to get the application approved, but probably not build it until, we were told, 5 or 6 years out. Technology's changing, all that's changing. We have serious safety concerns. I will always give you an honest answer. We absolutely have serious safety concerns with the project. We believe that possibly there is a better location for it. This is not the right location. There's a road issue there, and there is no water there. And battery energy storage systems, what we know about those, there are many Teslas magnified, and they can burn from for anywhere from hours to days to weeks. And so this is something relatively new to the fire service across the country. We can certainly find information out, California, different places that have it. NFPA has addressed it. The Virginia Fire Chiefs Association has a position on it. And so there's more to be learned and there's more to be known, but we have certainly put our concerns in writing and we have submitted those to community development. And we're just, we're learning and trying to understand, but it seems like there would be a better location for it that could address some of the other things that have already been brought up here tonight. So hope that answers your
Thank you,
question.
Chief. Good question. Yes, Charlie.
I just said that, what the chief said, because it is true, location is the key, but all these technologies feed off one another. So in many instances, we see situations where, we want a data center. Well, if we don't consider ahead of time the possible electricity impacts of such a massive opportunity, then we're not forward-looking enough, and we will absolutely miss out on the amazing opportunities that everyone seems to clamor about to getting that tax revenue up, and commercial revenue up, in order to keep the tax rates down for the residential. And so these projects can't be looked at just in a silo. They really do need to be looked at holistically. If we can find the right locations, if we can have the partners who are much more forthcoming than certain individuals seem to be at this point. But all these technologies feed off one another rather than just being isolated. And I think one of the biggest benefits to our commercial revenue base in the long term is analyzing that and seeing that as a whole. So much more to learn about something like this, a project like this, but it certainly does play into data centers and other heavy use that, frankly, in many places, an outdated grid just can't feed appropriately. So it is our job as the board staff to look at these things hopefully well in advance so that we can be prepared.
Thank you. Great point.
Alvarez.
That's kind of what I was talking earlier. We, in some cases, we don't go out for these businesses, but we look at them all because we do want to get to that 70-30 or even better. Now, we don't want to become an industrial county, but it does help us to lower, if we're ever going to lower the tax rate, we need, or to maintain it where it is, we need to bring businesses in. 5 minutes, I'm being told. Any other questions?
What's the status of the county manager search?
So we've received a lot of resumes, I think 34, 38. There's some really good candidates in the group. And we're having, at our meeting on the 1st, we're having a closed session. The board will get together and decide on when they're going to start the interview process. So, you have a question? Oh. Yes, sir.
What's the timeline for the temporary improvements at the I-64 divergent diamond?
Oh, I don't know that. Sarah, can you come up again? Have I introduced you to Miss Sarah Worley?
Thank you. They are, so VDOT recently announced that they are doing a design build. So it did shave some time off the estimated time frame. We were looking at 2030, 2031 before it was completed. They've recently decided that they're going to go with a design build concept, which allows engineers and builders to partner together to come up with a financially and timely solution to the design build process. And so they're hoping to have it built and done by 2029. I would encourage you to go to that goochlandva.us/ROC. They have updated timeframes on there, and that is where you're going to find all of the most current information about all of the improvements happening along the Ashland Road corridor.
So his question was about the temporary.
Temporary will be done in the next 3 months. So you will see a temporary light going up at the eastbound side of the interchange, and you will see an additional westbound lane being added to the interchange to go westbound on 64. So that's happening almost immediately. And that information is also on the website.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to give you a break tonight on the tax rate.
Oh, good. I was sweating.
You worked hard, but I do have a question for Trey. So I have a bit of experience with commercial development, and
You're hired.
the 70-30 split that's a good goal. It's a really good goal. I've read through your economic development plan, 2035 economic development plan. I think what people need to really appreciate is that the model changed during the pandemic for commercial development. So, and we have a really good example in Goochland County, it's Capital One. So Capital One's gone to a hybrid work model. 3 days in the office, 2 days out. So what do you do with all that extra office space? You shutter it. And Capital One nationally is shuttering office space in bank branches.
Right.
They're closing them down. I don't think we want to find ourselves in that situation, so it really puts a burden on you to find alternative types of commercial development, which really aren't there. Before it was Class A, B, and C office space. That's a dinosaur now.
Yeah.
So I think at some point the conversation needs to be had, because Goochland County is an agricultural community. What really do we want the county to look like in 2035? Because the model's significantly changed now. So just, fun fact.
And we've been lucky because Capital One has not cut here, but of course the employees weren't coming. But once they build it, the taxes go with it. So they once it's there and it's valued, they would have to work hard to convince us that it's no longer worth what it was worth. So there's always a value to the construction and the development. If Project Rocky were to happen and they decide not to stick around, that building would still be worth $500 million or close to. So those are the kind of things that, I'm sure we don't want to see a vacant building falling apart, but those are the things that, and we're not having a lot of that coming. It's mostly, right now, the ones that are coming, other than distribution, we have something else that we can't talk about that is really positive. That is something that I think everybody's going to be pleased with. Yes, ma'am.
On this topic, are there any nibbles on the Federal Reserve property?
No, yeah, the office market is tough, very, very tough. And to your point, we are trying to diversify, so we're not so heavily dependent on people like Capital One. And we have what we call the business retention and expansion program. So we're going out, we're meeting with businesses all the time to make sure we have an understanding of what they might need. So we're meeting with Capital One. So if there was to ever be an opportunity where, that they would be looking to close some of their campuses, we would know about it and try to get ahead of that.
Other questions? Is my time up? Oh, yes, sir.
Well, I should have asked Ms. Arrow something. What is the county's view of data centers? It came up just a minute ago, and
Yeah, I don't think,
they're everywhere, so.
I haven't really had the discussions with the board since I started, but my view is very good. I mentioned the Henrico and the 6% pay increase. So Henrico announced 6% pay increase. It was going to cost them $100 million. They increased the taxes on data centers from 40 cents to $2.60, and more than paid for the cost of the pay raises for all employees. So it's a great, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good thing.
I will speak as just one member of the board. I believe they need a real serious and positive review. They do not add traffic to the roads in many ways. They don't create a lot of jobs, not a lot of jobs there. They use a whole lot of power, and of course they're going to pay for it, but that's one of the constraints that we have. And then if it's in Tuckahoe Creek Service District, it's going to use quite a bit of water, which would help us potentially retire those bonds a lot quicker. So there's a lot I like about them. I'm a neophyte. I am not an engineer. I would turn to Mr. Sloan, who would be able to expand on that ad nauseum, as he has with me. Unfortunately, then it didn't stick. So I like them in concept, but the devil's always in the details. So if we have somebody who was able to come in, we had the water, and we had the power, and it was not going to negatively impact, and of course I'm very protective of farmland. I don't like to see farmland taken away, but I like the concept.
And to Mr. Votter's point, that's why we need some of these other technologies to make sure that we can handle a data center. Mr. Winfrey?
Yes, sir. Just to add to what you're all saying, I think the citizen concerns that I see is when there are too many of them. Okay, so I think, we would, I don't think we would open floodgates and have this county dotted with data centers. But I think we should look long and hard at least one because of the benefits of it and the fact. And I think you mentioned location. I think we'd have to make sure it's in the right location and so forth. But I think it's worthy of us looking into it and examining the benefits and taking a look at any negative impact it may have. And certainly citizen input is very important. But what I'm seeing is they're just coming in, lots and lots of them, like in Northern Virginia, and I can understand why the people are concerned up there. But I think we could probably have an appetite for at least one, and that's not you.
If I have to choose between a solar collection facility, it's going to be
battery storage,
thousands of acres, I'm going with the data center. Mr. Alvarez, if I may, I just want to recognize that Ellen Robinson from the school board, District 5 is here also.
Ellen?
She has joined us, and I can't say enough about the job she does. We have $7 cheeseburgers at Sunset Grill the third Monday of every month, and she keeps me straight as to what the schools need. So,
I hope you pay.
That teacher.
I hope you pay for it.
I do.
Okay.
No, he does not. Well, we pay for mine.
That's not right.
District 5, the school board, we welcome you all, and this turnout is fabulous. I'm sorry I could not be here earlier, but if you ever have any questions, I'm on speed dial or email, please reach out. And if I don't know the answer, I'll find it out. Thank you for being
So,
here.
let me take this opportunity to thank Mr. Alvarez publicly. Not only has he prepared himself for this with a very short notice, and I think he's given a very good presentation, but coming in as interim county administrator has given us the opportunity to deliberately try to get it right this time on our county administrator. That's a very, very important position for this county, as you all know. We view it that way. So thank you, Manny.
Thank you.
The staff that helped prepare all this data and so forth. We do want to be transparent. We want to hear from you all, and we want you to be informed. So thank you very much.
I want to thank Sandy Warwick, because last year I was heading the Virginia 250 Commission to celebrate the 250th anniversary. Goochland 250 Commission. And she's kind of taken it over, so she is the interim chair. She claims interim, but I think I'm going to move to Florida as soon as it's over. Any other questions or comments? Michelle, Angela, Meredith? No?
We have the cookies in the lobby.
Oh, yes. There are cookies back here and cookies in the lobby. And please try them. They're delicious, made by the students at in the culinary school. Thank you all. Thank you all for.